All right, here we are behind the track of Vertico's Zohnerism. Vertico is really cool Connecticut punk band. You should really check them out. They got a bunch of new music on the way. If you like the song, check them out and just look out for the new stuff because it's really cool. Zohnerism is a tune I've been requested to do a behind the track from a couple people. I think it's one of the most popular tracks from their last record, Clayface. And honestly, I think this behind the track is going to be a pretty simple one because this song is just meat and potatoes, a cool song. Plenty of little things we can talk about along the way that keep the energy going through the whole 2.5. Is this even 2.5 minutes long? Whatever. Let's start from the top. First cool thing to me is this bass feedback right here. All together. It's a little weird by itself. So I think here's what we actually recorded. So that feedback doesn't even really sound intentional. I don't think it was. It's just we had Alex, the bassist, in the same room as the amp, so it's bound to happen, here and there. We got an amp cranked the same room as the pickups are in. So I took that feedback, brought it to another track, and just brought it out even more with some distortion. And a little EQ without it. It's barely even feedback without it, but put it together with the real bass and the drums and the guitars.
My thoughts if you wouldn't mind. Take my words like blazing fire. Been able to your heart's desire.
So a big thing that Vertico wanted with this record is for everything to just be super right up in your face. And I think that was best achieved on this song, probably with the vocal. Kurt's a very strong vocalist, in my opinion. I love his vocals. And in this verse right here, especially, almost the whole song, but the verse especially, it's very dry. If we solo it, and all the effects are solo safe, so they'll be there.
Sorting round views, everything's a sign. I select my thoughts.
There's a bit of short delay going on, a stereo delay and a short, even shorter, I guess, mono delay. But it's a pretty dry vocal. You don't hear those delays when you've got the whole band in.
Everything's a sign. I select my thoughts if you wouldn't mind.
And that just puts that vocal right, smack up, Kurt's probably not even a foot from you, yelling at you. That's a cool vibe. I like it a lot.
Why are you still questioning your
Before we get to the chorus, we got one more thing. I guess we can talk about how there's a similar approach happening with the drums where they're pretty dry. There's no reverb at all on the drums. Let me just double check. There's no drum reverb to be found in the session. So there's no reverb on the drums. So that's going to dry us up right there. And we do have a room, but it's a fairly dry sounding room. This was their basement. Here, let's check out the room. Without the room. Bring it in. So it's definitely adding some ambience, but it's a very short, forward, small, tight ambience. Just a bit of realism more than it is sense of space and depth. I'm blending in a bunch of samples in with the actual room to kind of enhance the sound of the shells of the kit and less of the cymbal. Here's the actual room. That's what that drum set sounds like in that basement. And then blending in samples of the actual kit we use to record, samples of the room mics of each individual drum being hit. Sounds fake and dumb by itself, but it enhances, you know, the part of the drum room that's not the cymbals. And I also have a fake, totally fake Easy Drummer room sample. Completely different drum kit, obviously. Not the one that was recorded, but it's just to add that more of the room sound, because a basement's not really an ideal room. So I was just trying to get some of that room to get some more realism. But even that room, the totally fake one, is a pretty short. It's not like a huge, big, boomy kind of room. This is very tight, still up in your face kind of room sound. All together, they create this. So choruses sound a lot bigger than the verses, very intentionally. We're going from, this is 2 guitar tracks right here, just a regular left and right rhythm. We're going to a total of 6 in the choruses. That's 3 on the left and 3 on the right, essentially. We got the main rhythms, power chords, secondary rhythms, more of a lead line, really, and then the same lead line, but quad tracked with a different tone. I mean, all 3 can't really stand on their own, at least enough for the chorus to keep the chorus strong. The Rat is like your super scratchy, bitey. That's what's making that lead cut through on the top. But just to thicken it up a bit, we've also got the Big Muff playing the same riff. And then we obviously kept the main rhythms going through that, strumming the power chords, because otherwise you'd lose a lot. Even though Vertico only has 3 guitars, they only have 1 guitar in their live show. It just really lifts and keeps the energy up there if you keep the main guitar going through that. Like if we were to get rid of this guitar and go from the verse to the chorus, it kind of works, which is why their live show obviously works, but it's nice to have this chorus just a bit larger than life, you know?
I've been thrown to the wolves, and I've been it's all a matter of perception. It's all a matter of your point of view.
So the following verse and chorus are pretty much exactly the same as the first verse and chorus. Before we get to this P3, which is actually more like a bridge, before we get there, let's just chat about the bass tone for a second. So bass is actually on a stereo track, but it's going to, similar to the main rhythm guitars, it's going to this down mixer, which basically takes 2 stereo tracks, puts them out in mono. These 2 channels on the bass, one is a DI out of my Dark Glass B7K, great pedal, and the other is the mic we had on Alex's amp. So if you want to hear both of those, I forget which is which. I think that's a DI. And that's definitely the amp. That DI was before most of the pedals. Actually, probably all of the pedals. So it's just got a tiny bit of grit. Straight from the Dark Glass. And then the Dark Glass is going to a couple pedals. I don't remember. There's probably a Rat in there. And probably my Aguilar Aggro bass overdrive pedal. Probably in there as well. And throwing that relatively clean DI in there just kind of, you know, brings a lot of clarity to the overall bass tone, helping it cut through. Obviously, leaning heavily on the sound of the bass amp more so than the DI. So let's get to this P3, which is really more of a bridge. It's my favorite part of the song.
Too many new voices, too much for me. Maybe I don't watch enough TV. It's all a ruse, I need it fast. I'm sure who innocent I can trust.
So here we've got like my favorite vocal performance of Kurt, probably from the whole record. I really love the way he's singing here. And here we start to get the vocal a little bit less dry, give it a little bit of sauce, you know.
Too many new voices, too much for me. Maybe I don't watch enough TV.
We're sending it to probably a little bit more delay than the rest of the song, and also this stereo width wide kind of thing.
Two voices, too much for me. Maybe I don't watch it.
Just to put the vocal a little bit in the sides, and then we go to here, and then we also have a double, and then these screams are really background vocals.
Zohnerism, Zohnerism, Zohnerism.
So again, getting more vocal stuff happening in the sides of the speakers to get it even wider, especially since now we have a lead guitar coming up pretty much up the middle. Slight bit of modulation on the delay, giving it a little bit of a wonky tuning kind of feeling. And you also notice this is the only part of the song we ditched the main guitars, just because sticking to the heavy tone of the Rat and the Big Muff just worked for this section. It did mean a little bit of automation on these tracks. You'll see them individually go up if you look over here. And
too many new voices, too much for me. Maybe I don't watch enough TV. All the rules, I need it fast.
very thick sound, having just those two right there. That fits that part of the song. And also, because they're thicker, maybe slightly more scoop sounds, it leaves room for this very high mid-rangey lead to stick through them halfway through. And then they end with something that I'm a fan of. Rather than like a fade out or the song just keeps going, the song ends. I like when a song ends and has an end to it. Obviously, we had 6 tracks of guitar for Kurt to make noise on, as he likes to, and I appreciate all of it. Sounds like I'm sending to... Is there reverb on that? Yeah, just add a little lushness. We're automating. This is to send to a plate reverb just on those noises. Yeah, just a little ear candy, I guess. Alright, nothing cool there on the quads. That's pretty cool. Yeah, a little amp noise, whatever. That was Vertico, Zohnerism, Behind the Track. Thank you very much. Subscribe for more. And follow Vertico on all the social media because they got new stuff coming. It's really cool. That's all I'm going to say.